So the next section I wanted to open up to is a section called Ask the Experts, Ask the Ergonomics Experts. And we got a question from Sadaf. Hi, Sadaf. Thanks for coming today. I figured I haven't had a chance to write you back. I know you posted in the ergonomics, the Certified Ergonomic Specialist community, but I thought this would be a great forum for us to discuss your question. So I want everyone to, you can unmute yourselves, and let's help process through the question about mouse design pros and cons. So Sadaf had asked several questions about comparing 3 different devices that she recently ordered. And how many of you are familiar with the MicroTouch neutral mouse, the Heller-Ono vertical mouse, and the Hippus handshoe mouse? Just show of hands if you're familiar with it. Stephanie, Shauna, Adrian, Matt. Okay, great. And the other folks, we can't see you. So if you'd like to turn on your videos, we'd love to see you participate. This is a fairly relaxed type environment, no pressure. But if you can't do it right now, that's fine too. We'd love to hear from you. So Sadaf asked a couple of questions, and if you would just unmute yourself, Sadaf, and just give me a little background on how you got to these 3 devices and where you're using them and for what kind of work.
Hi everyone. So just a bit of background. I decided to order a couple of mice to try this is going to be used in a lab environment, and the reason why we explored these options were because there's going to be a few of our folks doing the type of work that involves a lot of clicking. Now, from the request that came through, it was more so that the individual had previous experience with a vertical mouse, and he wanted that a specific mouse, which I knew through speaking with Allison that it's a very large mouse and it wouldn't work for the entire team. So I walked through I had a conversation with the employee and explained that, we can't order the same type of mouse for everyone. It's not going to be beneficial ergonomically for the team. So I just wanted to trial a few different options, and the mice that I ordered were the MicroTouch, the vertical mouse, and the Hippus handshoe. So just testing it myself, I find that the vertical mouse was something that you have to get used to if you were to use it, and it had a lot of buttons that I had no idea what it's for. It's very different from the standard mouse that we currently use. So just wanted to see if you guys have any experience with the different type of mouse. When would you recommend which? And the Hippus handshoe was a very unique design that I hadn't seen before. I liked it, but I know that some of the folks said it hurt their hands. So yeah, just wanted to get a discussion going.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. And it's one that I think ergonomic specialists often, it's not an exact science either. So I want to open the floor before I provide some feedback to Sadaf. Anyone want to give some feedback? Talk about the use of, pick a device. And there's some questions up there for the neutral. You asked, does the wrist rest on this mouse supposed to move with your hands? How can you confirm the size? Heller-Ono, is this mouse recommended for tasks that require precise clicking? So just go ahead. Who would like to talk a little bit about these devices? Stevie?
Sure. Well, I think the neutral mouse is pretty good, and it's a little more gentle than the Gold Touch semi-vertical, which, as you've said, is maybe too big for people with small hands. But I think that the neutral mouse is relatively easy to adapt to for people who are just used to the standard mice. Yes, the evoluent or evoluent can be hard. I'd heard somewhere along the line that there can be some disadvantages with that purely vertical position, that the semi-vertical position is a little bit better. And I'm not an expert on that. I don't know why that is, but I have not been using that mouse for a while. And the hippest hand shoe, I'm surprised it hurt somebody's hand. It seems like one of the more, people seem to love that mouse for the most part. It does take up a lot of space on the desk, though. It seems to me a lot more than the other mice do. So is that true, Allison? You think the hippest takes up more space? I haven't measured it.
Yeah, I have one here. So definitely, it's all about surface area when it comes to a mouse. This is what I've learned over the years, is that the wider mouse, the longer. So essentially, you're measuring, you're fitting in the longitudinal arch of the hand through this way and the horizontal arch of the hand. So the more you can support the hand, the less effort it has to endure while it's mousing. So you just drop the hand, keeping it in neutral. This is the relaxed clamshell type posture of a hand. When you let your hand drop to your side, you just drop it. That's the position that it's in. And so these devices are designed to allow the hand to stay in this neutral alignment. And Stephanie, I agree with you. If someone has discomfort with this mouse, they're not putting their hand on it correctly. The other thing what you notice is that it lifts the wrist. It allows it to stay in line with the forearm, which is really important. The same thing with the neutral mouse. So here's an older neutral mouse. And you can see also it supports the hand in the same way. However, it has a higher rise and a little bit more verticality to it. I think this is about a 60-degree angle. This one's maybe about 35. And then the Evoluent is pretty much 90, full vertical. Now, so I'm going to answer your questions for you, but before I do that, I want to see if anyone else has some feedback on this. Matt, you mentioned you'd used these before.
Yeah, in my experience with mice, chairs, a lot of the things that there are so many options on the market for people to choose from, I think narrowing it down to a few options is good so that you can present it to people in a way that's not going to overwhelm them with choices, right? But give them a chance to try it out for themselves and pick the one that they like the best. I think that these are very personal pieces of equipment, just like we're going to see with exoskeletons and exosuits here shortly. And oftentimes giving people an opportunity to try and pick is one of the better approaches because it's participatory, right? It's participatory ergonomics. People get to be part of the decision-making process, and they're going to be more likely to buy in as a result.
Yeah, excellent. And you're right, it's very personal. I kind of like the name, the hand shoe. It is like trying on shoes, and you've got to find the one that fits you, that solves the problem. So you've got to figure out what is the problem with the current mouse. Does it hurt the hand? How are they using it? And of course, it's multifactorial. Is the surface set the right height? And I do feel that I am a proponent of using an armrest in conjunction with mouse use, setting the armrest equal to surface height and allowing the forearm to be supported, the wrist to float, creating a bridge between the forearm and the fingertips, and the hand directly on the device, so that you can move the device from the whole arm, rather than anchoring at the wrist and moving from wrist forward, which is really a major correction that you want to make. And these devices actually do that from their design because of the way they fit the hands. Now, you asked the neutral mouse, does the wrist rest on this mouse supposed to move with your hands? Yes, the whole device moves together as one. And this is a lateral edge support. So you avoid ulnar deviation. A lot of these help to correct for the awkward movement patterns because they're larger devices and it's harder to make that kind of same motion pattern. But you can remove the edge and just use the device like this. So that you don't have that bulkier side if someone's bothered by it. But you still must rest on the entire mouse. So you can see my fingers are at the end of the actuator, and then the mouse itself should fit right at the base of the palm. And this is how it elevates the wrist. If you look at a smaller device, now I have tiny hands, so most of these fit me. But if you put a mouse in someone's hand, and the mouse is sitting up like this, and their fingers are collapsed around it, that tells you the mouse is too small. And that's why these larger devices, medium or large, or extra large, are helpful. Okay? How can you confirm the size of the mouse? Well, each mouse has measurements, and you can look at the difference between the measurements of a medium and a large. I picked these from Ask Ergoworks, and they actually have the medium. They have them sized already for you to pick from. So that's probably the best way to do it. And sizing the hand for a mouse is pretty easy. I typically do one longitudinal measure from the third finger to the base of the palm, and that tells me typically people have a 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, or 8-inch hand. I think the largest hands I've seen are 8 or 8.5. So these devices are designed medium to fit about a 7 to 7.5, large to fit 7.5 to 8. Comment?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but when I was looking at the Hippus hand shoe online, it asks for a measurement from the tip of the ring finger to the bottom of the palm. So I am taking both measurements now when I'm considering the Hippus. And
yes. Yeah, you can follow their guidance there too. But I mean, it doesn't really. There's not that much difference. Maybe a quarter inch or so between the third and the middle and fourth finger. As far as is the Evolution recommended for tasks that require precision clicking, so you need to support the forearm proximal when you use the fully vertical mouse. It's really hard to get precision when the extremity isn't supported. And also you wind up, people often come from the bottom of the mouse over top of it. With this device, you want to go from the top down and support the forearm and move again from the shoulder, like you're stirring a big pot of soup. Does it perform better for heavy involved clicking mouse work? It depends. Now, you can program this mouse for auto clicking. So that's why it has the 5, 6, 7 buttons. You can program this mouse to do auto click so that when you hover over an active field, it will click for you. And so this can make significant reduction in physically clicking the mouse. But there are some downsides to auto clicking. I won't go into details here, but it is a great strategy for people that are routinely clicking in the same spot over and over. And then finally, what's the benefit of this type for the hand shoe? I love the hand shoe. It's great for reducing gripping force and allows neutral posture, supportive because of all the surface area that it takes up. Stevie's right, it is a wider base, so it doesn't maybe fit so well on a keyboard tray with like a larger keyboard like a Microsoft Natural. If the keyboard's over 20 inches and then you put that next to it on a 25-inch tray, you're not going to have much room, even a 27-inch tray. So it's best designed to use on the desk surface itself. So that, in a nutshell, Sadaf, is that helpful to you?
Yes, very much. Thank you.
There's so much to mouse use, but I really appreciate your question. There's certainly more that we could delve into, but for now, I wanted to at least bring this question forward. It's an excellent question, and any of you can submit questions. We can present them in the future during expert hours in the first 15-20 minutes before our expert speaks. So any other thoughts or feedback from our guests? We welcome you to turn on your videos and participate. This is how we run these meetings. But if not, you can also use the chat for any comments or thoughts that you have.
Yes, I have a comment, Allison. I do use the vertical mouse quite a bit. There's different shapes and sizes, like this one's a lot smaller, which fits my hand a lot better. The thing I do like about the vertical mice is, when you're standing, you don't leave your hands like this. You leave them like this, and when you sit down, you also sit down like this. Your bones are more naturally aligned this way. If you twist them this way, you can actually feel your muscles tensing up and your bones twisting. For that reason, I really do enjoy the vertical mouse, and I actually had some wrist problems from combat sports, and it actually took my problems away.
That's an excellent point, Adrian. Thanks so much for bringing it up. And that's one of the wonderful benefits of that design, is they say it's halfway between palm up and palm down. The pronation is an end-rain posture for the forearm the radius and ulna. And so those muscles are tight. Then you go to the moderately vertical, semi-vertical, and then full vertical. And so you do get the relaxation in between those, the forearm muscles. So very important point to bring out. Thank you for doing that. Great. Any other thoughts?
I have had good success with a mouse that is adjustable between the vertical and horizontal. It doesn't go quite completely either way, and it's really nice for areas where people are sharing a mouse because they each might have their own unique configuration. And like was talked about earlier, you don't want a mouse that's too small or too big. This one, what's really nice about it, I put it in the chat with a link to it. It's got a very adjustable thumb piece. Some people, especially as they age, their thumb gets kind of crooked in a way, and so this, you can push the thumb piece in and out, forward and back, and you can angle the little cradle. It's really good for people who have maybe different hand configurations, but you can also see in the pictures it doesn't go as vertical as the volume one, and it doesn't go as flat as a regular mouse, but it's like a compromise between, people can adjust it to how they like, and it's still fairly easy to clean for a lab environment. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, that's excellent. A lot of people use their thumb to pull and push the mouse, and they overuse it drastically. So when you are evaluating someone using a mouse, you want to look for how are they engaging the fingers and the thumb. The hand and the thumb and fingers should be in a relaxed, neutral position all the time when you mouse. You shouldn't have to engage those the fingers and thumbs for mouse use, other than to click. Okay. I've also put one in. I don't have the link to it, but the DXT mouse by Kinesis is a small vertical. I don't have the example on my desk either, but you hold it like this, and it's also symmetrical. You can use it left or right, ambidextrously. So, Sadaf, you might look into that one also. There's some good videos. They have a new version out. Some new videos on YouTube about that as well. So, well, great discussion. We could explore this further, and but I am happy that you brought this question forward, Sadaf, because it is a complex. So, you know, you have to really look at and understand how people are using it. I might say, in my experience, over 90% of people have right upper extremity problems related to mouse use. It's a very common issue. So the more you explore and understand, the better. Thanks, Shauna, for putting that into the chat.